What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Lost Tangent Outpost. My name is Spada, and welcome back to the MultiVersus Living Roster. Let's start by explaining what this show is. The Living Roster is an ever-changing prediction created by the community on this channel, hosted by yours truly, where we use all the information we can find, official and unofficial, to predict the roster of a fighting game. I'll provide you all with some information that I think is useful in deciding on what our options are, and you will vote for who you think is most likely. I want this series and community to grow, so I could really use your help with that. So please like the video to feed the algorithm gods. Make sure to get involved in the comments and subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date on all the progress we're making with the series. Also, because we cover all the new news coming out of Player First Games here for the sake of the show. So if you want to be up on all the news, this is a great community to be a part of. Now, I know you came in here looking at the thumbnail super curious about the Mask and Neo. Well, I put them on the thumbnail because in this episode we're going to be deciding between them and a few other WB pictures, that is, characters from WB Films franchises that are likely to appear. Okay, before we get to the main event of today's video, let's take a look at the living roster as it stands. Looks good. But wait, we're missing someone. We still need to add the winner of last week's poll, so let's go ahead and talk about that really quick. So last week, we discussed WB games, and I asked you all which property you felt was most likely to be represented in the launch roster of the game. I provided 4 options: Mortal Kombat, Back 4 Blood, Scribblenauts, and the Shadow of series. Holy crap, guys. The results were overwhelming. Not only did we get a lot more votes this week than last week, but the winning margin was insane. With almost 90% of the vote, the winner is, I think, kind of obviously Mortal Kombat. Now, this wasn't the only thing I asked of you all. I also asked you all, once you voted, to please let me know which characters you felt from the franchise that you voted for should be the one representing that franchise. And while there were a few characters provided in the comments, the one that was the most popular to be mentioned and was in agreement with me for the most likely candidate was Scorpion. So let's go ahead and give Scorpion his spot. Now, you'll see that I added some flavor to his portrait, giving him the assassin class and all, and it's possible that it would be a different class. I just made an executive decision. Going forward, for any character that you feel needs to be included, please let me know what class you think makes the most sense for them. All right, that's done. Now, let's discuss the meat of the episode. So for this episode, we're talking about WB Pictures, which is simply films made with the WB logo included. For the sake of argument, some of these franchises are produced under the New Line Cinema moniker, but that studio is also an offshoot of Warner Brothers. Specifically, they're a Warner Media company. So their films count here. Now, I gotta be honest, the list of movies to choose from here is long. Very, very, very long. So I'm gonna grab a handful of ones that I'm excited to talk about and focus on those. So let's start with what movies I think are generally likely to be included. Godzilla, The Matrix, The Mask, Evil Dead, and Gremlins. Now again, these are just the 5 I want to discuss today. These aren't even the only 5 possible, but for many reasons, I think these 5 are the ones that would get fans the most excited, and they span a range of genres. So let's go over the options. Firstly, every good platform fighter needs a large character. And so far, I'm not seeing anyone that fits that mold quite yet. Maybe Garnet and Rain Dog, but even then. So I think Godzilla fulfills this position beautifully. He's got a wide range of usage in video games and movies, so we'd have a plethora of options to choose from for attacks and for costumes. Can you imagine being able to switch between like original Godzilla, the Japanese version, and modern Godzilla, the one from, Godzilla vs. Kong and the Godzilla, which I think was like in 2014. I mean, the idea of that is pretty awesome to me. Then there's The Matrix. Now, this is the one I want the most because The Matrix is like one of my favorite films of all time. But to me, this is one of the most safe to bet on. First, The Matrix is one of the best action films ever made, spawned a massive media franchise, including games, comics, and an awesome anime. Second, Neo has a robust moveset to choose from. Third, can you imagine him doing his Superman thing against or with Superman? And beyond all that, there's the new movie due out this year, literally in the next 2 weeks. So just seems to me that WB would want Neo to appear in the game. The Mask is an interesting one. I mean, if you're familiar with the movie or the comic, you already know that he has a massive arsenal of tools that could be used in his moveset. He also has a huge amount of costumes to choose from. But interestingly, Tony, Player First Games co-creator, actually retweeted a fan-made moveset concept drawing recently, making it seem to me that this character is somebody he and his team team have been considering. Then there's Evil Dead. Now, Evil Dead is a legendary film franchise. People that know it already know that it's been part of nerd pop culture for over 30 years. Add to the fact that there was just so much hype generated by the mere idea of him being in Mortal Kombat 11 that it seems to me that Ash Williams is just simply inevitable. And lastly, there's Gremlins. It holds a special place in my heart because my son and I recently enjoyed watching the first movie, but it's also a film franchise that WB is currently working on a reboot for HBO. Add to that someone like Stripe, who would have a really entertaining fighting game moveset, and to me, you have the recipe for a fun and exciting character. So with that, those are your 5 options. Of those 5, which do you think is most likely to be included in the launch roster of MultiVersus? Godzilla, The Matrix, The Mask, Evil Dead, or Gremlins? To vote, there are polls in 3 locations you can go to. The first is the most straightforward. Just go to the Lost Tangent Outpost community page and you'll be able to see the poll at the top of that page. The second is simply to go to my Twitter at @Spada_LTO and look at the top of my profile where I'll have the most recent poll pinned to the top of my profile. And lastly, you can go to the custom poll that I have linked in the description of this video and pinned to the top of the comments. And that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe, get involved in the comments and let me know what you thought, who else you think makes sense to include, and what class archetypes make sense for the poll options you chose today. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Until then, later.